Welcome, guys, to my YouTube channel Study with Dr. Pranik. Today we will study cardiovascular physiology. In this unit, we have 5 topics, 5 chapters: origin of the heartbeat and electrical activity of the heart. Interesting topic. The heart as a pump, blood as a circulatory fluid, and the dynamic of blood and lymph flow. Cardiovascular regulatory mechanism, circulation through special regions. These 5 chapters we have to study. So let's go to the first chapter of cardiovascular physiology, the origin of the heartbeat and the electrical activity of the heart. Introduction. The part of the heart normally beat in orderly sequence. The contraction of the atria, atrial systole, is followed by the contraction of the ventricle, ventricle systole, and that during diastole all the 4 chambers are relaxed. The heartbeat originates in a specialized cardiac conduction system and spread by the system to all parts of the myocardium. The structures that make up the conduction system are the sinoatrial node and the internodal arterial pathway, the arterioventricular node, and the bundle of His and its branch, and the Purkinje system. The various part of the conduction system and the under no abnormal condition part of the myocardium are capable of spontaneous discharge. However, the SA node normally discharge most rapidly, with depolarization spreading from it to the other region before they discharge spontaneously. The SA node is therefore the normal cardiac pacemaker, with its rate of discharge determining the rate at which the heartbeat impulse generated in a SA node pass through the arterial pathway to the AV node, through this node to the bundle of His, and through the branch of the bundle of His via the Purkinje system to the ventricular muscle. Each of the cell type in these sum of these electrical charges recorded as the electrocardiogram. Each of the cell types in the heart contain a unique electrical discharge pattern. The sum of these electrical discharge can be recorded as the electrocardiogram (ECG). Origin and spread of cardiac excitation. Anatomic consideration. In the human heart, the SA node is located at the junction of the superior vena cava with the right atrium. The AV node is located in the right posterior portion of the interarterial septum. Figure. Conducting system of the heart. Superior vena cava. Look at the superior vena cava. Sinoatrial node. Internodal pathway, which carry the impulse from SA node to sinoatrial node to arterioventricular node. Bundle of His, right bundle branch. Purkinje system, left posterior fascicle. SA node, arterial node, AV node. This graph time with ECG. ECG on ECG electrocardiogram. This pattern is seen PQRSTU, and these are the wave at different sides. At ventricular muscles, the wave should be like this. Ventricle portion, this portion is important. Potent waveform is there, and Purkinje fiber bundle branch, common bundle, AV node, arterial muscles, SA node. See the action potentials. Okay. In the human heart, anatomic consideration. Topic: anatomic consideration. In the human heart, the SA node is located at the junction of superior vena cava with the right atrium. The AV node is located in the right posterior portion of the interarterial septum. There are three bundles of the arterial fiber. Number of bundle is 3. 3 bundle of arterial fiber that contain Purkinje type fiber and connect the SA node to the AV node. The anterior, middle and posterior tract of Thorel, tract of anterior middle tract called tract of Wenckebach, posterior called tract of Thorel. Tract Bankman bundle is sometimes used to identify a branch of anterior internodal tract that connects the right and left atria. Conduction also occurs through arterial myocyte, but it is more rapid in this bundle. The AV node is continuous with the bundle of His, which gives off a left bundle. Branch at the top of interventricular septum and continue as the right bundle branch. The left bundle branch divided into an anterior fascicle and a posterior fascicle. The branches and the fascicle run endocardially down either of the septum and come into the contact with the Purkinje system, whose fiber spread to all part of the ventricular myocardium. The histology is a typical cardiac muscle is described in chapter 5. For the most part of the conduction system is composed of modified cardiac muscle that has fewer striations and indistinct boundary. Individual cells within region of the heart have unique histologic feature. Purkinje fiber, specialized conductive cell and large with fewer mitochondrial striation and is distinctly different from myocyte specialized for contraction. Compared with Purkinje fiber, cells with the SA node and to a lesser extent the AV node are smaller and sparsely striated and are less conductive due to their higher internal resistance. The arterial muscle fibers are separated from those of the ventricle by a fibrous tissue ring, and normally the only conducting tissue between the arterial and ventricle is the bundle of His. The SA node develops from structure on the right side of the embryo and the AV node from structure on the left. This is why in the adult the right vagus is distributed mainly to the SA node and the left vagus mainly to the AV node. SA node and left vagus to the AV node. Similarly, the sympathetic innervation on the right side is distributed primarily to the SA node and sympathetic innervation on the left side primarily to the AV node. On each side, most sympathetic fiber come from the stellate ganglion. Non-adrenergic fiber are epicardial, whereas the vagal fiber are endocardial. However, connection between exists for reciprocal innervatory effect of the sympathetic and parasympathetic innervation of the heart on each other. Thus, acetylcholine acts presynaptically to reduce norepinephrine release from the sympathetic nerve, and conversely, neuropeptide Y release from noradrenergic ending may inhibit the release of acetylcholine. Properties of cardiac muscle, important topic for university exams. The electrical response of cardiac muscle and nodal tissue and the ionic influxes that underlie them are discussed in detail in chapter 5, and they are briefly reviewed here for comparison with the pacemaker cell below. Myocardial fiber have a resting membrane potential of approximately -90 mV. The individual fibers are separated by membranes, but depolarization spread readily through them as if they were a syncytium because of the presence of gap junctions. The transmembrane action potential of single cardiac muscle cell is characterized by rapid depolarization, initial rapid repolarization, a plateau phase, slow repolarization phase, and that allow return to resting membrane potential. The initial depolarization is due to sodium influx through rapidly opening sodium channels. The inactivation of sodium channel contributes to the rapid repolarization. phase. Calcium influx through more slowly opening calcium channel. The Ca positive current produce the plateau-phase and repolarization. Look at the graph showing the various channels opening during the various action potentials, comparison of action potentials in ventricular muscles, and diagram of the membrane potential of pacemaker tissue. Important diagram. Look at this. At phase 1, sodium channels are open, and then sodium channels are decreased, closed. At in phase 0, sodium channels are open, and at phase 1, sodium channels are closed, and calcium channel are increases, opens, and potassium channel. And the phase 2, calcium channel tends to close, and third, fourth, then potassium channel close. Now come to the topic. The inactivation of sodium channel contribute to the rapid repolarization phase. Calcium influx through more slowly opening calcium channel produce the plateau phase. This plateau phase due to the calcium channel opening. And repolarization is due to the net potassium efflux. Net potassium efflux through multiple type of potassium channels. Recorded extracellularly, the summed electrical activity of all the cardiac muscle fiber is the ECG. The timing of the discharge of the individual unit relative to the ECG is shown in figure. Note that the ECG is a combined electrical record, and thus the overall shape reflects electrical activity from cells from different regions of the heart. Pacemaker, pacemaker potential. Rhythmically discharging cells have this topic also important. Rhythmically discharged cells have a membrane potential that after each impulse declines to be a firing level. Thus, this is potential pacemaker potential. Trigger the next impulse at the peak of impulse. Potassium channel begins to bring about repolarization. Potassium channel then declines, and a channel permeable to both sodium and potassium is activated. Because of this channel is activated following hyperpolarization, it is referred to as an ACE channel. However, because of the unusual activation, it also been dubbed as an F channel, funny channel, which produce funny current. The current produced as funny current. As IH increases, as H channel increases, the membrane begins to depolarize, forming the first part of the prepotential. Calcium channel then open. These are two types of the heart, as D channel and L channel. Calcium channel are of two types. T for transient and L for long lasting channels. The calcium current due to opening of T channel completes the prepotential, and calcium current due to opening of L channel produces the impulse. Due to opening L channel produces the impulse. Other ion channels are also involved, and there is evidence of that local calcium released from the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Calcium sparks occur during prepotential. The action potential in the SAIV node are largely due to calcium, with no contribution by sodium influx. Consequently, there is no sharp rapid repolarization spike before the plateau. as there is other part of the conduction system and in the arterial and ventricular fiber. In addition, prepotential are normally prominent only in the SA and AV node. However, latent pacemakers are present in other portions of the conduction system that can take over when the SA node and AV node are depressed or conduction from them is blocked. Arterial and ventricular muscle fiber do not have prepotential and they discharge spontaneously only when injured or abnormal. When the cholinergic vagal fiber to nodal tissue are stimulated, the membrane becomes hyperpolarized and the slope of the prepotential is decreased. Because the acetylcholine released at the nerve ending increases the potassium conductance of the nodal tissue, the action is mediated by M2 muscarinic receptor, which is beta gamma subunit of G protein. Open a special set of potassium channel. The resulting current of potassium acetylcholinergic slow the depolarizing effect of H current. In addition, activation of the M2 receptor decreased cyclic adenosine 3,5 monophosphate (CAMP) in the cell. This slows the opening of calcium channel. The result is a decrease in firing rate. Strong vagal stimulation may abolish spontaneous discharge for some time. Conversely, stimulation of the sympathetic cardiac nerve speeds the depolarizing effect of H current and the rate of spontaneous discharge increases. Norepinephrine secreted by the sympathetic ending bind to beta 1 receptor and the resulting increase in intercellular CMP facilitates the opening of L channel, increase calcium current and the rapidity of the depolarization phase of the impulse. The rate of discharge of SA node and other nodal tissue is influenced by temperature and by drug. The discharge frequently increases when the temperature rises, and this may depress nodal tissue and exert an effect like that of vagal stimulation, particularly on the AV node. Effect of sympathetic and vagal stimulation on the membrane potential. By this portion, we can distinguish between sympathetic do not have this part and vagal. Here, clinical box digitalis or its clinically useful preparation. Digoxin or digitoxin have been described in medical literature for over 2,200 years. It was originally derived from foxglove plant. Digitalis purpura is the name of common foxglove. Correct administration can strengthen contraction through digitalis inhibitory effect of the sodium potassium, resulting in greater amount of calcium release and subsequent change in the contraction force. Digitalis can also have an electrical effect in decreasing AV node conduction velocity and thus altering AV transmission to the ventricle. Therapeutic highlight: digitalis has been used for treatment of systolic heart failure. It augments contractility, thereby improving cardiac output, improving left ventricle inputting, and decreasing ventricular filling pressure. Digitalis has also been used to treat atrial fibrillation and the atrial flutter. In the scenario, digitalis reduces the number of impulses transmitted through the AV node and thus provide effective rate control. In both these instances, alternative treatment developed over past 20 years and the need to tightly regulate dose due to significant potential for side effects have reduced the use of digitalis. However, with better understanding of mechanism and toxicity, digitalis and its clinically prepared derivative remain important drug in modern medicine. Spread of cardiac excitation. Depolarization initiated in the SA node spread radially through the atria, then converges on the AV node. Atrial depolarization is complete in about 0.1 second. Because conduction in the AV node is slow, a delay of about 0.1 AV nodal delay occur before excitation spread to the ventricle. It is interesting to note here that when there is a lack of contribution of sodium current in the depolarization phase 0 of the action potential, marked loss of conduction is observed. This delay is shortened by stimulation of the sympathetic nerve to the heart and lengthened by stimulation of the vagus. From the top of the septum, the wave of depolarization spread in the rapidly conducting Purkinje fiber to all parts of the ventricle in 0.08 to zero point 0.1 second. In human, depolarization of the ventricle muscle starts at the left side of the interventricular septum and moves first to the right across mid portion of the septum. The wave of depolarization then spread down the septum to the apex of the heart. It returns along the ventricular wall to the AV groove, proceeding from the endocardial to the epicardial surface. The last part of the heart to be depolarized are posterobasal portion of the left ventricle, the pulmonary conus, and the uppermost portion of the septum, the electrocardiogram. Because the body fluid are good conductor, that is because the body is a volume conductor, fluctuation in potential representing it is important. The electrocardiogram is important topic. Because the body fluid are good conductor, because the body is a volume conductor, fluctuation in potential representing the algebraic sum of the action potential of myocardial fiber can be recorded extracellularly. The record of the fluctuation in potential during the cardiac cycle is the ECG. The ECG may be recorded by using an active or exploding electrode connected to an indifferent electrode at zero potential, unipolar recording, or by using two active electrode bipolar recording. In volume conductor, the sum of the potential at the point of an equilateral triangle with the current source in the center is zero at all times. A triangle with the heart at its center is Inthoven triangle. See below. Inthoven triangle can be approximated by placing electrode on both arm and on the left leg. These are the three standard leads used in the electrocardiography. If these electrodes are connected to a common terminal, indifferent electrode that stay near zero potential is obtained. Depolarization moving toward an active electrode in a volume conductor produces a positive deflection, whereas depolarization moving toward opposite direction produces a negative deflection. The name of various waves and segments of the ECG in human are in figure 29.5. See the waves. Most important figure. PR segment from this point to this point it is PR interval. From this point to this point, the PR segment. QRS duration, QT interval, ST segment, isoelectric line. Okay. By convention, an upward deflection is written when the active electrode becomes positive relative to indifferent electrode. and downward deflection is written as the active electrode becomes negative. As can be seen in figure 29.4. The P wave is primarily produced by atrial depolarization. The QRS is dominated by ventricular depolarization. P wave due to atrial depolarization. QRS complex is due to ventricular depolarization. T wave due to ventricular repolarization. P wave is primarily by atrial depolarization. QRS complex is dominated by ventricular depolarization. T wave by ventricular repolarization. U wave is an inconstant finding that may be due to ventricular myocyte with long action potential. However, the contribution to this segment are still undetermined. The intervals between various waves of the ECG and the event in the heart that occur during these intervals are shown in table 29.2. Most important table. PR interval, QRS duration, QT interval, ST interval. PR interval 0.8, 0.18, range 0.12 to 0.20, event in the heart during interval, atrioventricular conduction, atrioventricular conduction, PR interval, arterioventricular conduction, arterioventricular conduction. Okay. QRS duration 0.08, range to 0.08 to 0.1, ventricular depolarization. QT interval 0.0 to 0.43, ventricular action potential. ST interval plateau portion of the ventricular action potential. QT minus QRS. Bipolar leads. Bipolar leads were used before unipolar leads were developed. The standard limb lead each record the difference in potential between two limbs. Because current flow only in the body fluid, the record obtained are those that would be obtained if the electrode were at the point of attachment of the limb. No matter where on the limb the electrode are placed in lead 1, the electrodes are connected so that an upward deflection is inscribed when the left arm becomes positive relative to right. In lead second, the electrodes are on right arm and the left leg with the leg positive, and in lead third, the electrodes are on the left arm and the left leg with the leg positive. Unipolar leads. Important. An additional 9 unipolar lead, that is lead that record the potential difference between an exploring electrode and indifferent electrode, are commonly used in electrocardiography. There are 6 unipolar chest lead precordial leads designated V1 to V6 and 3 unipolar limb lead VR, VL and VF. VR at right arm, VL left arm, VF left foot. The indifferent The indifferent electrode is constructed by conducting electrode placed on two arms and the left leg to a center terminal. This field lead effectively record a zero potential because they are situated such that the electrical activity should be cancelled out. Augmented limb lead designated by the augmented limb lead do not use the V electrode as the zero. Rather, they are recording between one augmented limb and the other two limbs. This increases the size of the potential by 50% without any change in configuration from the non-augmented record. Unipolar lead can also be placed at the tip of catheter and inserted into the esophagus or heart. Although sensitivity can be increased, this is obviously more invasive and thus not a first step in obtaining electrical reading. Normal ECG. The ECG tracing of a normal individual are shown in figure 29 4b. The sequence in which the three parts of the heart are depolarized, the position of the heart relative to the electrode are the important in interpreting the configuration. See the sequence where leads are placed. First is V1, then V2, V3, V4, V5, V6. A sequence like this. This is sternal gypoid process. V1 is this here. V1 is here. V2 is here. Then V3, V4, V5, V6. V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6. Normal ECG. The ECG tracing of normal individual is shown in figure OK. By interpreting the configuration, remember this diagram is more important. The atria are located posteriorly in the chest. The ventricle from the base and anterior surface of the heart and the right ventricle is anterolateral to the left. The AVR looks at the cavity of the ventricle. The atria depolarization, ventricular repolarization moves away from the exploring electrode, and the P wave, QRS complex, T wave are therefore all negative deflection. AVR and AVF to look at the ventricles, and the deflection are therefore predominantly positive and biphasic. There is no Q wave in the V1 and V2. An initial portion of the QRS complex is a small up deflection because ventricular depolarization moves across the mid portion of the septum. Positive or biphase. There is no Q wave in V1 and V2. An initial portion of the QRS complex is a small upward deflection because ventricular depolarization first moves across the mid portion of the septum from left to right toward the exploring electrode. The wave of excitation then moves down the septum into the left ventricle away from the electrode, producing a large S wave. Finally, it moves back along the ventricular wall toward the electrode, producing the return to the isoelectric line. Conversely, in the left ventricular lead V4 to V6, there may be an initial small Q wave. left-right polar septal depolarization, and there is a large R wave followed by V4 to V5 by S moderate S wave. It should be noted that there is a considerable variation in the position of the normal heart, and the position affects the configuration of the electrocardiographic complex in the various leads. Bipolar limb leads. This is into wind triangle. Look, minus minus plus plus 1 2 segment always remain the same, have same configuration. That means it always be negative, this point always be positive, and only this have the variation. Okay, the bipolar limb lead and the cardiac vector. Because the standard limb lead are recorded for of the potential difference between 2 points, the deflection in each lead at any instant indicate the magnitude and direction of the electromotive force generated in the heart in the axis of the lead. Cardiac vector or axis, the vector at any given moment in the two dimension of the frontal plane can be calculated from any two standard limb lead if it is assumed that the three electrode location from the point of an equilateral triangle, equivalent triangle, and that of heart lies in the center of triangle. The assumptions are not completely warranted, but calculated vectors are useful approximations. An approximate Queen's QRS vector electrical axis of the heart is found plotted by using the average QRS reflection in each lead, as shown in figure 20. This means a vector as opposed as an instantaneous vector, and the average QRS deflection should be measured by integrating the QRS complex. However, they can be approximated by measuring the net difference between the positive and negative peak of the QRS. The normal direction of the mean QRS vector is generally said to be minus 30 to plus 110 degree on the coordinate system. Left or right axis deviation is said to be present if the calculated axis fall to the left of minus 30 or to the right plus 110 respectively. Right axis deviation suggests right ventricular hypertrophy. Left axis deviation may be due to left ventricular hypertrophy, but there are better or more reliable electrocardiographic criteria for this condition. His bundle electrogram. In patient with heart block, the electrical event in the AV bundle of His Purkinje system are frequently studied with a catheter containing an electrode at its tip that is passed all through a vein to the right side of the heart and manipulated into a position close to tricuspid valve. 3 or more standard electrographic leads are recorded simultaneously. The record of the electrical activity obtained with the catheter is the His bundle electrogram. It normally shows a deflection when a AV node is activated and S spike during transmission through the His bundle and V deflection during ventricular depolarization. With the SBE and the standard electrocardiographic lead, it is possible to time 3 interval accurately. The PA interval, the time from the first appearance of artery depolarization to the A wave, is the SBE, which represents conduction time. From the SA node to the AV node, the AH interval from the A wave to the start of the H spike, which represents the AV nodal conduction time. The HV interval at the time from the start of H spike to the start of QRS deflection in the ECG, which represent conduction in the bundle of phase and the bundle branch. The approximate normal value for the interval in adult PA 27 millisecond, AH 92 millisecond, HB 43 millisecond. These values illustrate relative slowness of the conduction in the AV node monitoring. The ECG has long been used in normal patient care. In the past, it was often recorded continuously in hospital coronary care with alarm arranged to sound at the onset of life-threatening arrhythmia. Using a small portable tape recorder Holter monitor, it is also possible to record the ECG in ambulatory individuals as they go about their normal activity. The recording is later played back at high speed and analyzed. A recording obtained with monitor have proved valuable in the diagnosis of arrhythmia and in planning treatment of the patient recovering from myocardial infarction. Currently, modern system can be hooked up to individual and obtain and store heart rhythm data over days to better evaluate long-term electrical activity. Clinical application of cardiac arrhythmia. Normal cardiac rate. Normal cardiac in the normal human heart, each beat originates in the SA node, normal sinus rhythm (NSR). The heartbeat about 70 times a minute at rest. The rate is slowed bradycardia during sleep, accelerated tachycardia by emotions, exercise, fever, many other stimuli. In healthy young individual breathing at a normal rate, the heart rate varies with the phase of respiration. The accelerate during inspiration, deaccelerate during expiration. Especially if the depth of breathing is increased. This sinus arrhythmia is a normal phenomenon and is primarily due to fluctuation in parasympathetic output to the heart. During inspiration, impulses in the vagal from the stretch receptor in the lungs inhibit the cardiopulmonary inhibitory area in the medulla oblongata. The tonic vagal discharge that keeps the heart rate slow decrease and the heart rate rises. Disease process affecting the sinus node lead to marked bradycardia accompanied by dizziness and syncope. Abnormal pacemaker. The AV node, another portion of the conduction system, can in abnormal situation become the cardiac pacemaker. In addition, diseased atrial and ventricular muscle fiber can have their membrane potential reduced and discharge repetitively. Sixth sinus syndrome. Clinical box. Sixth sinus syndrome. Sixth sinus syndrome, bradycardia, tachycardia syndrome, sinus node dysfunction, SA node dysfunction, is a collection of heart rhythm disorder that include sinus bradycardia, slow heart rate from the natural pacemaker of the heart, tachycardia, fast heart rate, bradykardia. Sixth sinus syndrome is relatively uncommon and usually found in people older than 50 years. In whom the cause is often non-specific. Scar like degeneration of the heart conduction system. When found in younger people, especially in children, a common cause of sixth sinus syndrome is heart surgery. Children's, especially on the upper chamber, Holter monitoring is an effective tool for diagnosing sixth sinus syndrome. Holter monitoring. Because of the episodic nature of the disorder, extremely slow heart rate and prolonged pause may be seen during Holter monitoring. Along with the episode of atrial tachycardia. Treatment depends on the severity and type of disease. Tachycardia are frequently treated with medication. When there is marked bradycardia in patients with sixth sinus syndrome or third-degree heart block, an electronic pacemaker is frequently implanted. Medication for tachycardia, electronic pacemaker, bradycardia with third-degree heart block. These devices, which have become sophisticated and reliable, are useful in patients with sinus node dysfunction, AV node block, and bivascular and trifascicular block. They are useful also in patients with severe neurogenic syncope, in whom carotid sinus stimulation produces pause of more than 3 seconds between heartbeat. As noted above, the discharge rate of SI node is more rapid than that of the other part of the conduction system, and this is why the SI node normally control the heart rate. When conduction from the artery to the ventricle is completely interrupted, complete heart block, and the ventricle beat at a low rate, atrioventricular rhythm independently of the atria. The block may be due to disease in the AV node, AV nodal block, or in the conducting system below the node, infranodal block. In patients with AV nodal block, the remaining nodal tissue becomes the pacemaker, and the rate of the atrioventricular rhythm is approximately 45 per minute, beat per minute. In patients with infranodal block due to disease of the bundle of His is the ventricular pacemaker is located more peripherally in the conduction system, and the ventricular rate is lower. It averages 35 beats per minute, but in the individual case, it can be as low as 35, as low as 15 beats per minute. But in individual 50 beats. In such individual, there may also be period of asystole lasting a minute or more. The resultant cerebral ischemia causes dizziness and fainting, stroke, Adams syndrome. The cause of third-degree heart block includes septal myocardial infarction, damage to the bundle of His during surgical correction of the congenital interventricular septal defect. When conduction system between atria and ventricle is slow but not completely interrupted, incomplete heart block is present. In the form of called first-degree heart block, all the atrial impulse reaches the ventricle, but the PR interval is abnormally long. In the form of called second-degree heart block, not all the atria impulses are conducted to the ventricle. For example, a ventricular beat may follow every second or every third atrial beat, 2:1 block, 3:1 block, etc. In another form of incomplete heart block, there are repeated sequences of beats in which the PR interval lengthens progressively until a ventricular beat is dropped. Van-Quebec phenomena. The PR interval of the cardiac cycle that follow each dropped beat is usually normal or only slightly prolonged. Sometimes one branch of the bundle of His is interrupted, causing right or left bundle branch block. In bundle branch block, excitation passes normally down the bundle on the intact side and then sweeps back through the muscle to activate the ventricle on the blocked side. The ventricular rate is therefore normal, but the QRS complex are prolonged and deformed. Block can also occur in the anterior or posterior fascicles of the left bundle branch, producing a bundle condition called hemiblock or fascicular block. Left anterior hemiblock produces abnormal left axis deviation in the ECG, whereas left posterior hemiblock produces abnormal right axis deviation. It is not uncommon to find combination of fascicular branch block by fascicular trifascicular block. The HPE permits detailed analysis of the site of block when there is a defect in the conduction system. Ectopic foci of excitation. Normally, myocardial cells do not discharge spontaneously, and the possibility of the spontaneous discharge of the His bundle Purkinje system is low because the normal pacemaker discharge of the SI node is more rapid than their rate of spontaneous discharge. However, in abnormal condition, the Purkinje fiber or the Mardi-Crelle fiber may discharge spontaneously. In these conditions, increased automaticity of the heart is said to be present if an irritable ectopic focus discharge once. The result is a beat that occurs before the expected next normal beat and transiently interrupt the cardiac rhythm. Arterial nodal ventricular association of premature beat. If the focus discharges repetitively at a rate higher than that of the SI node, it produces rapid regular tachycardia. Re-entry. A more common cause of paroxysmal arrhythmia is a defect in the conduction that permit a wave of excitation propagate continuously within a closed circuit circus movement. For example, a transient block is present on one side of the portion of the conducting system. The impulse can go down the other side. If the block then veer off, the impulse may conduct in a retrograde direction in the previously blocked side back to the origin and then descend again, establishing a circus movement. An example of this is in a ring of tissue is shown in if the re-entry is in the AV node, the entrant activity or deploys the atrium, and the resulting atrial beat is called an echo beat. In addition, the re-entry activity in the nodes propagate back down to ventricle, producing paroxysmal nodal tachycardia. Circus movement can also become established in the atrioventricular muscle fiber. In individual with an abnormal extra bundle of conducting tissue connecting the atria to the ventricle bundle of Kent, the circus activity can pass in one direction through the AV node and in the other direction through the bundle, thus involving both the atria and the ventricles. Atrial arrhythmia. The excitation spreading from an independently discharging focus in the atria stimulates the AV node and prematurely and is conducted to the ventricle. The P wave of atrial excess systole are abnormal, but the QRST configuration are usually normal. The excitation may depolarize the SN node, which must repolarize and then depolarize to the firing lever before it can initiate the next normal beat. Consequently, a pause occurs between excess systole and the next normal beat that is usually equal in length to the interval between the normal beat preceding the extra systole, and the rhythm is reset. Arterial tachycardia occurs when the arterial focus discharge regularly or there is a reentrant activity. Focus discharge regularly or there is a reentrant activity producing arterial rate up to 220 per minute. Sometimes, especially in digitalized patients, some degree of atrioventricular block is associated with the tachycardia. In atrial flutter, the atrial rate is 200 to 315 per minute. In the most common form of arrhythmia, there is a large counterclockwise circus movement in the right atrium. This produces a characteristic sawtooth pattern of flutter waves. Due to atrial contraction is almost always associated with 2:1 or greater AV node block. Because in adult the AV node cannot conduct more than 230 impulses per minute, in atrial fibrillation the atria beat very rapidly, 300 to 500 per minute, in a completely irregular and disorganized fashion. Because the AV node discharges at irregular intervals, the ventricle also beats at a completely irregular rate, usually 80 to 160 per minute. The condition can be proximal or chronic, and in some cases there appear to be a genetic predisposition. The cause of atrial fibrillation is still a matter of debate, but in most cases it appears to be due to multiple concurrently circulating reentrant excitation wave in both atria. However, some cases of paroxysmal atrial fibrillation seem to be produced by discharge of one or more ectopic foci. Many of these foci appear to be located in the pulmonary veins as much as 4 cm from the heart. Arterial muscle fiber extended along the pulmonary veins and are the origin of these discharges. Consequences of arterial arrhythmia. Occasional arterial extrasystole occur from time to time in most normal humans and have no pathological significance. In proximal arterial tachycardia and flutter, the ventricular rate may be so high that the systole is too short for adequate filling of the ventricle with blood between contractions. Consequently, cardiac output is reduced and symptoms of the heart failure appear. Heart failure may also complicate atrial fibrillation when the ventricular rate is high. Acetylcholine liberated at a vagal ending depress conduction in the atrial musculature in AV node. This is why stimulating reflex vagal discharge by pressing on the eyeball, ocular cardiac reflex, or massaging the carotid sinus often convert tachycardia and sometimes convert atrial flutter to normal sinus rhythm. Alternatively, vagal stimulation increases the degree of AV block, abruptly lowering the ventricular rate. Digitalis also depress AV conduction and is used to lower the rapid ventricular rate in atrial fibrillation. Ventricular arrhythmia. Premature beats that originate in ectopic ventricular focus usually have bizarrely shaped prolonged QRS complex. Because of the slow spread of the impulse from the focus through the ventricular muscle to the rest of the ventricle. They are usually incapable of exciting the bundle of his and reticular conduction of the atria before it does not occur. In the meantime, the next succeeding normal synodal impulse deprives the atria. The P wave is usually buried in the QRS of the extrasystole. If the normal impulse reaches the ventricle, they are still in a refractory period following depolarization from the ectopic focus. However, the second succeeding impulse from the SA node produces a normal beat. Thus, ventricular premature beat are followed by compensatory pause that is often longer than the pause after an arterial extrasystole. Furthermore, ventricular premature beat do not interrupt the irregular discharge of SA node, whereas arterial premature beat often interrupt and reset the normal rhythm. Arterial and ventricular premature beat are not strong enough and to produce a pulse at the wrist if they occur early in diastole, when the ventricle have not had time to fill with blood and the ventricular musculature is still in its relatively refractory period. They may not even open the arterial pulmonary valve, in which case there is in addition no second heart sound. Proximal ventricular tachycardia is in effect in a series of rapid regular ventricular depolarization, usually due to circus movement involving the ventricles. Torsade de Pontes is a form of ventricular tachycardia in which the QRS morphology varies. Tachycardia originating over the ventricle can be distinguished from proximal ventricular tachycardia by use of SPE. In supraventricular tachycardia, a His bundle H deflection is present, whereas the ventricular tachycardia there is none. Ventricular premature beats are not uncommon, and in the sense of ischemic heart disease, usually benign. Ventricular tachycardia is more serious because cardiac output is decreased, and ventricular fibrillation is an occasional complication of ventricular tachycardia. In ventricular fibrillation, the ventricular muscles fiber contract in a totally irregular and ineffective way because of the very rapid discharge of multiple ectopic foci or a circus movement. The fibrillating ventricle, like the fibrillating atria, look like a quivering bag of foam. Ventricular fibrillation can be produced by electric shock or an extrasystole during a critical interval, the vulnerable period. The vulnerable period coincides in the time with the mid portion of the T wave, that is, it occurs at a time when some of the ventricular myocardium is repolarized, some is incompletely repolarized, and some is completely repolarized. These are excellent conditions in which to establish re-entry and circus movement. The fibrillating ventricle cannot pump blood effectively and circulation of the blood stops. Therefore, in the absence of emergency treatment, ventricular fibrillation that lasts more than a few minutes is fatal. Most frequent cause of sudden death in patients with myocardial infarct is ventricular fibrillation, long QT syndrome. An indication of vulnerability of the heart during repolarization is in fact that in patients in whom QT interval is prolonged, cardiac repolarization is regular, and the incidence of ventricular arrhythmia and sudden death increases. The syndrome can be caused by a number of different drugs, by electrolyte abnormality, and the myocardial ischemia. It can be also be congenitally mutation of 8 different genes have been reported to cause the syndrome. 6 cause reduced function of various potassium channels by alteration in their structure. 1 inhibit a potassium channel by reducing the amount of the ankyrin isoform that link it to cytoskeleton, and 1 the function of the cardiac sodium potential. Long QT syndrome is discussed in clinical works. Accelerated AV conduction in an interesting condition seen in some otherwise normal individuals who are prone to attack the proximal atrial arrhythmias is accelerated AV conduction. Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome. Normally, the only conducting pathway between the atria and the ventricle is the AV node. Individuals with Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome have an additional aberrant muscular and nodal tissue conduction bundle of Kent. between the atria and ventricle. This conduct more rapidly than the slowing conducting AV node, and one ventricle is excited early. The manifestation of its activation merges with the normal QRS pattern, producing a short PR interval and a prolonged QRS deflection slurred up on the upstroke with a normal interval between start of the P wave and the end of the QRS complex. The proximal atrial tachycardia seen in this syndrome often follow an atrial premature beat. This beat conduct normally down the AV node but spread to the ventricular end of the aberrant bundle, and the impulse is transmitted retrograde to the atrium. A circus movement is thus established. Less commonly, an atrial premature beat finds the AV node refractory but reaches the ventricle via the bundle of Kent, setting up a circus movement in which the impulse passes from the ventricle to the atria via the AV node. In some instances, the Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome is familiar. In two such families, there is a mutation in a gene that codes for an AMP-activated protein kinase. Presumably, this kinase is normally involved in suppressing normal atrioventricular pathway during fetal development. Attack of proximal supraventricular tachycardia, usually nodal tachycardia, are seen in individuals with short PR interval and normal QRS complex. Long-Ganong-Levin syndrome. In this condition, depolarization is presumably passed from the atria to the ventricle via an aberrant bundle that bypass the AV node but enter the interventricular conducting system distal to the node. Treatment of for arrhythmias. Many different drugs are used in treatment of arrhythmias, slow conduction in the conduction system and the myocardium. This depresses ectopic activity and reduces the re-entry does not occur. It reduces the discrepancy between normal and re-entrant path so that re-entry does not occur. Thus, the target sodium channel quinidine and can also slow sodium current and prolong refractoriness. Quinidine diisopyramide inhibits sodium current with minimal prolongation of refractoriness. Flecainide, propafenone, or shorten refractoriness in depolarized cells. Lidocaine, Maxility, drugs that target potassium channel can prolong refractoriness. Amiodarone, sotalol, dofetilide, drugs that block L-type calcium channel can slow acid pacemaker and AV conduction. Verapamil, diltiazem, nifedipine. Finally, drugs that block beta-adrenergic receptor thus reduce the activation of calcium current L-type. Propranolol, metoprolol. Interestingly, it has become clear that in some patients, any of these drugs can be pro-arrhythmic rather than antiarrhythmic. That is, they can also cause various arrhythmia. Therefore, careful monitoring and alternative procedures are extremely important when using antiarrhythmic drugs. An alternative treatment is radiofrequency catheter ablation of re-entered pathway. A catheter with electrode at the tip can be inserted into the chamber of the heart and its environs and used to map the exact location of the ectopic focus or accessory bundle responsible for the production of re-entry and supraventricular tachycardia. The pathway can then be ablated by passing radiofrequency current with the catheter tip placed close to bundle or focus in a skull hand. This form the treatment can be very effective and associated with few complications. It is particularly useful in conditions that cause supraventricular tachycardia, including Wolff-Parkinson's-White syndrome and atrial flutter. It has also been used with success to ablate foci in the pulmonary veins, causing proximal artery fibrillation. Electrocardiography finding another cardiac and systemic disease, myocardial infarction. When the blood supply to part of the myocardium is interrupted, profound change take place in the myocardium that lead to irreversible changes and death of the muscle cell. The ECG is very useful for diagnosing ischemia and locating area of infarction. The underlying electrical event and the resulting electrocardiography changes are complex, and only a brief review can be presented here. The three major abnormalities that cause electrocardiography changes in acute myocardial infarction are summarized in table 29.3. Defect in infarcted cell, rapid depolarization, current flow out of infarct. Result ECG change in lead over infarct ST segment. Three major abnormality. Okay, the first change abnormally rapid repolarization after the infarcted muscle fiber as a result of accelerated opening of potassium channel developed second after occlusion of a coronary artery in experimental animal. It lasts only for a few minutes, but before it is over, the resting membrane potential of the infarcted fiber declines because of the loss of intracellular potassium. Starting about 30 minutes later, the infarcted fiber also begins to depolarize more slowly than the surrounding normal fiber. All these changes cause current flow that produce elevation of the ST segment in electrocardiographic lead recorded with electrode over the infected area. Because of the rapid repolarization in the infected, the membrane potential of the area is greater than it is in the normal area during the later part of repolarization, making the normal region negative relative to the infarct. And extracellularly current therefore flow out of the infarct into the normal area. Since by convention the current flow is from positive to negative, this flow toward electrode over the injured area, causing increased positivity between the S and T wave of the ECG. Similarly, the delayed repolarization of the infarcted cell cause the infarcted area to be positive relative to the healthy tissue during the early part of the repolarization. The result is also ST segment elevation. The remaining change, that decline in resting membrane of potential during diastole, cause a current flow into infarct during ventricular diastole. The result of this current flow is a depression of the TQ segment of the ECG. However, the electronic arrangement in the electrocardiograph recorders is such that TQ segment depression is recorded as an ST segment elevation. Thus, hallmark of acute myocardial infarction is elevation of the ST segment in the leads overlying the area of infarction. Leads on the opposite side of the heart shows ST segment depression. After some days or weeks, the ST segment abnormality subsides. The dead muscle and scar tissue become electrically challenged. The infarcted area is therefore negative relative to the normal myocardium during systole, and it fails to contribute its share of positivity to the electrocardiographic complex. The manifestation of this negativity are multiple and subtle. The common changes include the appearance of Q wave in some of the leads in which it was not previously present, and an increase in size of the normal Q wave in some of the other leads, also so-called non-Q wave infarct, are also seen. These latter infarct tend to be less severe, but there is a high incidence of subsequent reinfarction. Another finding in infarction of the anterior left ventricle is failure of progression of the R wave. That is, R wave failed to become successively larger in the precordial lead as the electrode is moved from right to left over the left ventricle. If the septum is infarcted, the conduction system may be damaged, causing bundle branch block or other form of heart block. Myocardial infarction are often complicated by serious ventricular arrhythmia with the fate of ventricular fibrillation and death in experimental animals. Presumably in human, ventricular arrhythmia occur during three periods. During the first 30 minutes of infarction, arrhythmia due to re-entry are common. There follow a period relatively free of arrhythmia, but starting 12 hours after infarction, arrhythmia occur as a result of increased automaticity. Arrhythmia occurring 3 days to several weeks after infarction are once again usually due to re-entry. It is worth noting in this regard that infarct that damage the epicardial portion of the myocardium interrupt sympathetic nerve fiber, producing denervation supersensitivity to catecholamine in the area beyond the infarct. Alternatively, endocardial lesion can selectively interrupt vagal fiber, leaving the action of sympathetic fiber unopposed. Effect changes in the ionic composition of the blood. Changes in the sodium potassium concentration of the extracellular fluid would be expected to affect the potential of the myocardial fiber because of the electrical activity of the heart. depend on the distribution of these ions across the muscle cell membrane. Clinically, a fall in the plasma level of the sodium may be associated with the low voltage electrocardiographic complex, but changes in the plasma potassium level produce severe cardiac abnormality. Hyperkalemia is very dangerous and potentially lethal condition because of its effect on the heart. As the plasma potassium level rises, the first change in the ECG is the appearance of tall P T wave as a manifestation of alternative polarization. At higher potassium level, paralysis of the atrium, prolongation of the QRS complex, ventricular arrhythmia may develop with the resting membrane potential of the muscle fiber decreases as the extracellular potassium concentration increases. The fiber eventually become unexcitable and the heart stops in diastole. Conversely, a decrease in the plasma potassium level causes prolongation of the PR interval, prominent U wave, and occasionally late T wave inversion in the precordial leads. If the T and U wave merges, the prime QT interval is often prolonged. If the QT TU waves are separated, the true QT interval is seen to be normal duration. Hypokalemia is a serious condition, but it is not as rapidly fatal as hyperkalemia. Increase in extracellular calcium concentration enhance myocardial contractility. When large amount of calcium are infused into experimental animals, the heart relaxes flash during diastole and eventually stop in systole. Calcium riser. However, in clinical conditions associated with hypercalcemia, the plasma calcium level is rarely, if ever higher enough to affect the heart. Hypocalcemia causes prolongation of the ST segment and consequently of the QT interval, a change that is also produced by phenothiazines and tricyclic antidepressant drug in various diseases of the central nervous system. So we have finished one topic, one chapter, origin of heart beat and the electrical activity of the heart. So now I'm signing out with this chapter.